Hello, friends. It's the Carnivore Rabbi here, as always, to meet, pray, and love. What quality does it take? What quality of character to be a successful carnivore? This is really important to know. I bet some of you have seen that video. It was a clickbait video where I'm forgetting her name now, but she quit carnivore. But it really was about how she quit carnivore. It was horrible, and she came back to carnivore. And what quality is it in ourselves that helps us stick to this way of eating? And I've been thinking a lot about this, talking to a lot more carnivores as I've been building this channel and getting to know more people. And I think I've got the answer. The quality, the most critical quality to be successful on the carnivore diet, and in many ways to be successful in life, is independence, freedom of thought, being a nonconformist. That's what it takes. Because if you think about it, we carnivores are going against what virtually every doctor and nutritionist says. It's amazing. We have our doctors, thank goodness, Dr. Chafee, Dr. Berry, Dr. Kiltz, but 99.5% of most doctors view the carnivore diet with concern, if not malice. So that's one viewpoint we need to resist. Remember, doctors are glorified in our culture. My dad is a doctor. My grandpa was a doctor. I grew up revering doctors, and I still do. I think most of them are wonderful people. They don't encourage nonconformity. The next thing we have to resist is social pressure. We human beings have a built-in need to belong. We evolved as part of tribes. That's why a small rejection in life can hurt so much. It triggers an ancient part of us. And we know how much social pressure there is to eat the standard American diet. Growing up in middle school, in high school, in elementary school, there you eat birthday cakes on people's birthdays. We meet friends for meals. After a baseball game, we go out for burgers. We go on dates at restaurants. Food is a part of everything social. And that's a lot of pressure. It's incredible. So we have to be able to resist that. We have to have an inner sense of independence and nonconformity. Now, the truth is, it gets easier over time. But just to get started takes a deep sense of conviction and confidence. And being a nonconformist is much harder than it sounds. I say the name, but it's much harder. Because most people, their natural inclination is to conform. There is a wonderful scene in the Monty Python movie, Life of Brian. Brian exhorts the crowd. He says, "You are all individuals." And they chant back, "Yes, we are all individuals." Then he tries again, telling them, "You are all different." Yes, they roar in unison. "We are all different." You get it? They're all saying the same thing, saying that they're different. We have a built-in tendency to conform. And I'm a rabbi, of course, but I can't help think of a biblical scene about how we can break out of this conformity. It's a biblical scene that many people who haven't really studied Jewish texts in depth may not be familiar with. It comes from the book of Genesis. It's about Jacob, and he's a young man, and he wants to impress his future wife, Rachel. He wants to water her flock of sheep, but the well where he wants to get the water is covered by a large stone. Now, remember, Jacob is described earlier in the book of Genesis as bookish rather than physically strong. It's his brother Esau, that's the strong one, the outdoors one. And several other shepherds near the well had said that no one man can lift up the stone. It requires a large group. But then Jacob sees Rachel approaching, and he gets up and he rolls the stone off the mouth of the well. How does he do it? It is God's word, so you could say it was a miracle, that we're seeing a miracle. But maybe the answer is that Jacob simply refused to accept the word on the street. Yes, everyone had said the stone could not be moved, but common knowledge, convention, is not the same thing as truth. In fact, the shepherds were wrong. It just took a little courage to discover it. Similarly, for us on the carnivore diet, it takes a little courage to say the authorities are wrong and that we've been misled about meat and carbs for decades. We need an inner strength to do that. And one of the things that makes conformity so powerful, and non-conforming requires so much courage, is that conformity feeds on itself with social reinforcement. Think about it. We will get a nodding of the heads of approval if we eat broccoli and make sure to drink orange juice to get our vitamin C. Most people we know will say, "Oh, that's wonderful. You're so healthy. You're eating a salad." That's why we need carnivore communities, to help us reinforce the proper human diet. That's why I speak. That's why I create videos. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing, hit the subscribe button. It makes a big difference. Now, is it possible to develop greater independence and nonconformity? Some of us have it just with birth. Some of us have just more independent you can sometimes tell if you see a parent with little kids and little kids are giving them a hard time. These may be future nonconformists. So I suspect a lot of people who gravitate toward the carnivore diet already are nonconformists. But if we want to work on it, we can develop it through habits and community. First, I think you can build a habit of doing something for yourself and by yourself every day. Some people pray daily. Some people meditate daily. Some people go for a 15-minute walk. Do something alone. It's good to spend time with and check in with yourself regularly. See how you're doing. See what's inside of you. Introspection. Know yourself. Don't judge yourself based on somebody else's standards. And by the way, when you develop this sense of independence, it will make the carnivore diet easier. Because even when you're with other people, you will often be the only one around eating the way you are eating. Get comfortable doing something by yourself. That doesn't make you antisocial, not at all. It can actually make you more social, as it has with me, because you can focus on the people rather than the food. You can be interested in what they have to say rather than just feeling hangry and grabbing food. But you still need to be able to feel comfortable being the only one eating in a particular way. Also, look at yourself and see if you do other non-conforming things. Do you vote the same way as everyone around you? Do you listen to the same programs and music? Think for yourself. It's a very important quality. I suspect many of us do that already, but we can always improve. But we don't always have to be non-conforming. This is the beautiful thing about YouTube and about the world in which we live. It helps to be around a community that shares your values. I once heard somebody say, we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. I don't buy that 100%, but I do think it's important. When we can find the right community, our best selves can emerge. But jobs and families can keep us in certain places. It's not always possible. That's why we have YouTubes, virtual communities, places for reinforcement. And we need reinforcement in our nonconformity. Human beings, even us individualists, are still social beings. And the more reinforcement we can get, the more we can remain convicted and committed in our way of eating. And we all know what that leads to. When we can stay committed and convicted and passionate and independent and free thinking, we'll feel healthier and happier than we could have ever imagined.